I look completely normal to all of you, don't I? Nothing wrong with me from your point of view, correct? Invisible syndromes remain invisible to more than half the people in the US, and most are unaware that kids can be ill without it being noticeable. My illness is post-concussion syndrome, and before that, it was just a concussion. Some may take this sort of complex disorder as not so serious, but I hope they only take it that way because they don't know about concussions. But concussions should not be taken lightly. The blow to the head is the blow of a traumatic brain injury. And concussions can last from a couple days to weeks to months to years, changing your life drastically or not at all. In my case, it changed my life drastically. My traumatic brain injury experience picked my life up, threw it on the ground, and stepped on it a couple times. The foot had come down on the top of my head during the last girls' water polo game I would ever play, or last sports game I would ever play. I had awoken the next morning and knew I did not feel right. I had changed. Mentally, I was no longer myself. My memory was horrible. Not knowing my phone number or my parents' phone number, or being able to tell the time of day by looking outside was a terrifying feeling. My doctors told me, oh, not to worry, you should feel yourself in about 2 to 3 weeks. Then those 2 to 3 weeks turned into 4 to 5 weeks, then 7 to 9 weeks, then we'll figure out how to make the pain more bearable. Thus my journey through doctor's appointments, treatments, and medications had begun. Having a complex disorder that nobody can see is one of the most frustrating things I've ever had to experience. And people not taking your condition seriously just because they can't see it is so upsetting. I looked normal after I got hit, and I'm normal right now, but that doesn't mean I'm not struggling. With this new feeling of frustration, it connected me to stories of other kids that have invisible illnesses. I had a pre-existing migraine problem already, but with the hit, the doctors believe it sort of set off my migraine problem, putting my brain into an endless loop of headaches. Day after day, wake up, go to sleep with a headache. From December 16th, 2016 to today, March 18th, 2018. I began to grow relationships with my doctors. Dr. Tracy Zasso was the first one I met with after my pediatrician, and she had confirmed my concussion diagnosis. Weekly appointments at Dr. Zasso's office in Santa Monica had become a regular for me, as well as distancing from my peers, missing school, never exercising, and never sleeping all became regulars for me as well. I soon began vestibular therapy in an attempt to treat my headaches. I would do cognitive exercise as well as regular exercise to get my brain and body back into its regular motion, but nothing was helping. We were referred to a neurologist at Children's Hospital of Los Angeles. She was a very nice woman who talked me through my concussion and told me what signs I should be looking for that I was getting better. Through my sea of doctor's appointments, a few treatments had begun to stick out to me. My first steroid pack. It really didn't make me feel any different, but hearing the doctor say, I'll be prescribing you a steroid pack, was something I never imagined my 15-year-old self to hear. The second treatment that was most impactful was my occipital nerve blocking, which was administered to me by my favorite neurologist, Dr. Rao. It was 6 shots into the back of my head to ease inflammation and swelling around the occipital nerves. It did no justice to me either. The last treatment that was most impactful in my mind was my DHE infusion, which was administered to me December of 2017. I lay on a bed in Dr. Rao's office with an IV in. 3 doses of DHE are administered to me over the course of 1 day, and I did 3 days of this procedure. It made me realize that what I was dealing with was becoming a serious issue, and that every doctor I was seeing was very set on helping me relieve my pain from my constant headaches. Concussions can have short-term effects as well as long-term effects. This is why they need to be taken more seriously. Long-term effects can lead to depression, behavior changes, sleep disturbances, and difficulty concentrating on your daily tasks. A neurosurgeon and concussion specialist that goes by the name of Gregory Hark stated, "We are starting to learn that perhaps these seemingly minor blows to the head, when they're cumulative, can lead to depression and behavior change. In fact, we think that some suicides may be linked to the brain damage that results from multiple concussions. This blow to the head should not be something that is overlooked. We are overlooking the initial hits, and we are overlooking the long-term effects that may spiral into something much worse. Most may believe after you sustain a concussion, you need to lay in a bed, sleep, no stimulation for your brain, and no connection to the outside world beyond your 4-bedroom walls. And yes, this was the only way to recover from a traumatic brain injury for decades, but finally new research has surfaced. You may be able to reclaim your brain by actively reconditioning the injured parts of it. So people who are uneducated on concussions saw me going to the gym, swimming laps, doing therapy, and even listening to music, all assumed that I was faking my injury. But who can blame them? All they've ever known is to heal from a concussion is you give your brain no stimulation. There are many more misperceptions about concussions, such as that they can have no effect on you whatsoever, or that they automatically lead to something much, much worse, like a CTE for an example. A CTE is a neurodegenerative brain disorder, and what happens is a protein in the brain called tau forms slowly and kills brain cells. This disorder led to the many deaths of popular football players and Army veterans. Neurologists have learned to categorize 6 different concussions, starting with anxiety and mood, cervical, post-migraine traumatic, ocular dysfunction, vestibular, and difficulty with balance, motion, and coordination. Coaches, friends, teammates, and teachers all interrogated me, prying for me to say that I was faking my injury the entire time. Finally, I started to feel bad for them. I felt bad that they didn't know what a concussion was and how to deal with it clearly. I also felt bad because the day will come when they talk bad about somebody's invisible illness, and their words leave a much worse wound on someone dealing with a much more difficult illness. So this is the end. This is the end of how people look at me and my disorder, and it is the end of how other kids with invisible illnesses are looked at. And hopefully, it's the beginning. This is the beginning of concussions being taken more seriously, and the beginning that blows to the head are no longer just slept on. Thank you.